What time is it?
Tea time!
Oh, yeah.
Welcome back. This is episode 22 with Tea Time. That is me. Kind of a short episode, not a whole lot to get to necessarily, but a few quick hits because it's going to be a pretty Oregon-eccentric episode, given that all that's happened in the last week and since I last podcasted. But MLB news, big name, Japanese Babe Ruth, Shohei Ohtani, signs in surprise with the Angels. Mariners made a very big push to get him. He ended up just deciding that Anaheim, or should I say LA, is where he wanted to be. Teaming up on a deal. Now he's going to team up with Mike Trout, which makes them a very interesting and formidable foe for the team that was going hard after Ohtani and believed to be the favorites. And then, speaking of that team, the Mariners, they picked up D. Gordon on a trade that sent away 3 of their top 15 prospects, but in all honesty, the Mariners prospects are still recovering. So it's really, they ended up, I think one of them only ended up in the top 10 in the Marlins system, and I believe that came in at 9. So it wasn't really like the Mariners gave up too much, but they're going to move him to center field. Yes, the shortstop for the Dodgers, who moved to second for the Dodgers, who moved to second for the Marlins, is now going to be center field for the Mariners. But when you have, one of the best second basemen in baseball and Robbie Cano, you kind of don't have room for him. But he seems pretty excited to meet the task. He's a speedy guy, and he had an interview, his first interview as a Mariner in Seattle, and he cuts it short because Ken Griffey Jr. is calling him. Seems like a pretty good guy to have calling you, say the very least. And then, of course, the big news, the biggie, Giancarlo Stanton, your 2016-17 baseball season MVP, goes to the Yankees for absolutely nothing. Yep, that is correct. He was sent away for absolutely nothing. Good for the Yankees, bad for the Marlins. Marlins want a money dump. Yankees took on the money. So I'm just going to go on record without a whole lot of info here. I mean, they have a really big logjam in the outfield. But yes, they have now 3 real boppers in Gary Sanchez, Aaron Judge, and Giancarlo Stanton. But I'm going to call it now. I think the Yankees will be good, but I don't think they're going to be what everyone thinks they are. Because those 3 guys, yes, they hit a lot of home runs. But what's the glaring issue with all 3 guys? None of them are high batting average guys. All of them are high strikeout guys. And typically, when you hit a home run, you want more than one guy on there. There's going to be a lot of strikeouts, a lot of guys stranded, and a lot of solo shots. But who knows? I could be wrong. You never know. And then in the college world, as we predicted, Baker Mayfield won the Heisman going away. Bryce Love finished second. Lamar Jackson finished third. But Mayfield deserved it. Yeah, people had an issue with some of his antics on and off the field, but if you can give a guy like Johnny Manziel and a guy like Jameis Winston the Heisman, or even Cam Newton, who all had their issues, mostly after the fact. But if you can live with those factors, you can live with what Mayfield did, because what Mayfield did wasn't on the level of those guys. Well, neither technically was Newton, but that's another argument for another day. But congratulations to Baker on what he has done, what he is doing. Good for him. He deserves it. I mean, let's be real. And then the last little couple quick side notes. Just because I like to stoke the fire and throw it out there, Manny Pacquiao has reached out to Conor McGregor's people to try and arrange another money grab boxing fight. That'll be interesting because I want to know how legit Conor McGregor really was against Mayweather. Sorry about that butchering. to see if that really was all for show and Mayweather was just doing a money grab, or maybe he really did get some good pops and showed some promise like I thought he did. Because Pacquiao, he's going to knock the crap out of him if he can. And then the other last thing is, Jacksonville fans, what are you doing? You're going to throw beer at a player who was ejected from a game where your players were just as bad in that game. Seattle and Jacksonville got into it. Jacksonville won the game, which, by the way, Jacksonville, you were up big, I think 28-7 at one point. And you almost blew it because you only won 28-24. Russell Wilson does his fourth quarter magic to you like he does to everybody else. And he does it with a cast that isn't a star-studded, not first-rounders. He loses Bobby Wagner for the game. He loses KJ Wright for the game. He already doesn't have Sherman. He already doesn't have Chancellor. He doesn't have a running game. Stop talking smack, Jacksonville. Yes, you got the win. Congratulations, you were at home. And Jacksonville fans, all you accomplished at doing was getting caught on film, wasting a $9 bill, beer, throwing it at a player, hiding in the stands because you know the guy will kick the snot out of you. And you went from making Seattle look like the bullies and the guys just trying to throw their weight around in a losing effort to now you're the dumbass and you're going to get banned from NFL stadiums. So I hope it was worth it. Not only did you waste a $9 crappy beer, but you're going to get banned from football. Good job. Good job. Congratulations. But moving on, before we get to our Oregon football stuff, a quick word about Tom Radican and Auto Service Express. Those guys are great there for whatever need you have on your vehicle. Like I said before, I've been preaching about these guys for a while. They're great. They get the job done. They do it right the first time. That's the only place I take my car. That's the only place I refer people to. Definitely give them a call. Give them a try. They're the best in town. Auto Service Express. Now, Oregon football. The part that most of you are tuning in for, and the only reason most of you are tuning in, is for this part to hear what I have to say. For those of you who do not know, Willie Taggert is gone. He is a one-and-doneer, people. And we all were wondering if it was going to be Troy Brown or Jr. or Bull as our first one-and-doneer, but no, it's our football coach this last year. And it looks like Jim Leavitt is gone as well in this scenario because the players made a demand. They wanted their voice heard, and it was 70-plus players had a petition, not 48 hours. I think it was actually 20. Yeah, not 48 hours after Willie Taggert left because they wanted to be Cristobalin. Yes, Mario Cristobal is our new head coach, and I do like the hire. I don't love the hire. I like the hire better than Willie Taggert. That's for damn sure. But he is our new coach. I believe he's the right guy. Oregon did the smart thing and covered their rear ends this time with a real buyout, not the joke of a one that Willie Taggert had. And he's going to retain most of the staff. Raymond Woody Jr., the linebackers coach, Dante Pimbleton, the running back coach, they gone. They ain't staying. They're going with Taggert. They've been with Taggert since Western Kentucky, so yeah, they're not staying. And it looks like Jim Leavitt's gone. For whatever reason, we don't know. By contract, he's obligated to be here through the Vegas Bowl. But just all the signs point to that he's probably going to leave. Which means more than likely Keith Hayward will be promoted to the D coordinator. And from what it looks like, all the other assistants are staying. Michael Johnson Jr., the wide receivers coach, is the only real wild card. He could go, he could stay. He really wanted to be on Michigan staff and was going to work part-time until a full-time job opened up here at Oregon. But it's going to be very interesting. Marcus Arroyo going to be the full-time offensive coordinator and call the plays. Cristobal is going to be the head coach and work with the offensive line still. And Keith Hayward, Charles Clark, all those guys are sticking around. If I was to guess, more than likely, all we're going to be looking for is a new linebackers coach because we're going to lose both the outside and inside linebackers coach in Leavitt and Woody, a new running back coach, and I think we will be looking for a new wide receivers coach just because I think Michael Johnson Jr. is actually going to go. not Junior, just Michael Johnson, is going to actually go to Michigan with Jim Harbaugh. But keeping the crew together, that's what the recruits want. They were all crystal balling. They were all saying, you keep this crew together, we're going to stay. Since Taggert left, we did lose 6 commits, which hurt because they were very good commits. But 4 of which have already gone on record to say Oregon's not out yet. They just want to see what happens. They're just opening up their recruitment. There's about 10 of them that said they're not going anywhere. They said they didn't commit to Taggert. They committed to the University of Oregon and the movement, as they called it, which is really promising, which is good. All the offensive linemen are pretty stoked it's Mario Cristobal. A lot of the former players are stoked it's Mario Cristobal. Heck, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson tweeted out an endorsement about his battles with Cristobal at Miami. And he was proud of Oregon for hiring him, and he's going to be on our sidelines a few times. Cristobal promised him, sideline passes, which will be cool to see that guy on the sideline for sure. But a little bit about Cristobal, offensive line coach, was the head coach at FIU. Literally a team with no real history. That team only been to 2 bowl games, only had 2 10-win seasons, both of which were with Cristobal. Yes, his record doesn't look good, but he took over FIU, which, like I said, only has 2 10-win seasons, both under him. It's a terrible team. And then there was terrible circumstances, and the athletic director, it was either him or Cristobal, so of course he went with him. And then he moved on to be a offensive line coach, more like offensive tackle offensive line coach at Alabama, won a natty with them, coached in a natty with them, and now here he is with us after 1 year of Taggert leaving. But I think he is the right guy for the job. I was a fan of getting Wilcox or Sumlin, but sometimes it doesn't work out. But hopefully, in Mullen's case, it does work out because Mullen struck out on Taggert hard. And I said before, Mullins' job is going to be tied to the Oregon football head coach. And he's made some really good hires in the athletic department, but he's going to look really bad because he got rid of a 30-plus year staff after 1 bad season, brought in a whole new, brand new staff, and the head coach leaves after 1 year. That looks bad on him, but I'm going to give him a break because Taggert chose to leave. Taggert didn't actually fail. So everything what Cristobal does is what's going to decide how Mullins is going to be looked at after all this. And the key is, when we look at Willie Taggert, what are we going to remember? That he was one and done, or that he brought us our next great coach in Mario Cristobal? That is going to be the question. That's what we're going to be looking at 10 years from now. And if you're Rob Mullins, you're hoping it's for the latter, not the former. And recruiting, Cristobal's a recruiter. He is. He's going hard to keep this recruiting class, but he's got to be ready because UCLA and FSU are coming. Taggert's already had in-home visits with 10 of the recruits, 3 of which decommitted, 7 that are still committed. And UCLA is coming hard too, going after a lot of our recruits. Because Chip Kelly, he knows what he's looking for, and unfortunately they look at Oregon a lot. But to go to my finishing thoughts for this podcast, which is also Oregon-eccentric, that I feel that fans need to hear, let me talk to you about a company called Oregon Grown. Good buddy of mine, James. This is his company, is what he runs. And he's hooked me up with some gear, but I bought in gear myself. Oregon Grown is a locally owned company that's about us kids, us grown-ups, us people who are grown in the state of Oregon. Hats, clothes, decals, Sasquatch logos, Oregon logos. It's just to take pride in where you're from. I mean, because we're Oregon boys, we're Oregon girls, we're Oregon grown. That is where we're from. I'm Oregon grown. My son is Oregon grown. My daughter's Oregon grown. My wife is Illinois grown, or future wife, I should say. But that's okay. We forgive her. She's going to have gear too. She has gear too. She can be an Oregon girl. That's all right. She can be adopted into it. We're not picky. We're good people. But to check out this gear, which I say you have to do, they have sales. It's Christmas time. It's a perfect gift, especially for those of you who are proud to be Oregon grown or have recently become it. or-grown.com is where you need to go Great gear. I endorse it. It's super sweet. or-grown.com. Oregon grown for all of us that were here in Oregon. Now to finish the podcast, I'm going to kind of give some final thoughts on Wiggly Taggert and the U of O program and us fans. I'm just as upset as everybody else about Taggert leaving. It was really a snake-like thing what he did. He lied to the media, he lied to the fans, he lied to recruits, and then he turned around and is trying to recruit them to another school. But you can't blame him. He knows how good these kids are, and he wants them with him. The problem I have the most is he sat into living rooms last year convincing kids in the state of Florida to come to Oregon and join him, and then leaves them. And the worst part is he didn't tell them right away. He didn't tell them till after the fact. He didn't even give them a notion it was a possibility. All he would say is nothing's changed, which is fine. I'm not going to hold it against the guy whose timing was everything. His dream job is FSU. He is from Florida. It's home to him. So you know what? They also offer to give him more money. Let him go. He did a lot in his short period of time. He's nowhere near as successful as a coach yet. He wouldn't be in top 5 at Oregon. He is a phenomenal recruiter. And we're going to find out how much of that was him and how much of that was his coaching staff, because there's quite a few phenomenal recruiters like Joe Salavea and Mario Cristobal and Keith Hayward, just to name a few. These guys all know how to do that. And I have to say to my fellow Duck fans, let it go, let him go. He is not worth it. I know. Snake oil salesman Willie, slick really Willie, all those things. He may be them, but he's gone now. 7-5 season. Had a number 1 recruiting class at one point. Had lost that number 1 recruiting class mantra or rank before he actually left, because other schools picked up recruits, because recruiting is a fickle thing and it's ever moving. 1 5-star, 1 4-star kid commits to a school, they jump 10 schools. Bottom line. But it's time to move on from him. It's time not to let him get the better of you. He's either going to fail or succeed and ain't going to make a difference at Oregon. He didn't define who we are. He didn't take who we are with him. He didn't invent what we are. If you want to swag surf, swag surf. The bottom line is, he is not Oregon. We are. We know what makes us us. We know who we are. We are Nike U. We have all the jersey combinations. We have a history of not having history. Our tradition is we don't have any. Because let's face it, no one knew who we were on a consistent basis till 2009. And that is okay, because that's who we are. We are not a blue blood. We are not a perennial powerhouse yet. But it is coming. We need to get back to who we are and what we are. Who are we? We are Kenny Wheaton is going to score. We are Gangrene in the backfield. We are Michael Dyer was down. We are Kenyon Barner just scored another touchdown on USC. We are Mahalo Marcus. Those are the things that truly define us. We win the day. We do something. We never back down. Through thick and thin. We are Oregon. Now let's get ready, because not to put it too blunt, let's go beat Boise is not a state. Till that time.
What time is it? Tea time!